Okay, so good day my fellow taong bayan mga kasimor, at ngayon po pag-usapan natin yung latest development sa 2026 impeachment case si VP Sara Duterte. As of today po, April 14, 2026, kasi nagkaroon po ng hearing yung Committee on Justice sa House of Representatives. Okay, at dito po pinresent na yung quote-unquote star witness ng prosecution na si Ramil Madriaga. So ito po siya, yung naka-flash ngayon sa video ninyo. Okay, and then yung next po na gusto kong i-discuss for today is yung big revelation din po ng Commission on Audit. So kung ako po ang tatanungin ninyo, this is actually a more interesting issue kasi according po to Attorney Gloria A. Camora of the Commission on Audit ay meron ng decision yung COA proper. So when you say COA proper, that is equivalent po sa en banc ng Supreme Court, meaning lahat po ng commissioners and the chairperson of COA voted already on the matter. So dito po ang revelation ni Attorney Camora ay may decision na yung COA proper nga affirming the disallowance dun sa confidential fund issue ni VP Sara Duterte nung year 2022. Okay? At kaya ko po nasabing big revelation to siya is because the evidence na meron lang po naka-attach dun sa original complaint ay yung under pa po nung investigation office pa lang ng COA. Pero dito, lumabas na may decision na nga yung COA proper. Okay, so anyway po, ngayon i-explain ko sa inyo kung ano ba yung mga legal implications ng ganyan na biglang may lumabas na bagong evidence basically from the COA, and then i-discuss din po natin yung statement ni star witness Ramil Madriaga. Okay? Okay, pero konting history lesson lang po muna tayo kung ano na ba yung status ng impeachment case so far para hindi po kayo maligaw. Okay, so number one po, of course, yung filing ng verified impeachment complaint. Alam po natin, di ba, na nauna ng ilang araw before February 6 yung ilan sa complainants. Pero nung sa first hearing po ng Committee on Justice ay winidraw yun ng complainants, tapos yung kinonsider lang ng committee is the February 6 pataas na mga complaints. Okay, and then of course, after nun, kinonsider or dineclare na po ng House of Representatives na sufficient in form yung complaints, and then after nyan, of course, there was a declaration ng sufficient in substance, which is ito po yung video na yan. And then after po, once there is already a declaration of sufficient in form and substance, ay pwede na po mag-file or i-require po ngayon ng House of Representatives na yung respondent ay mag-file ng answer niya, which is ito naman po yan na video. So ang final po ni VP Sara is an answer ad cautelam. So yung ad cautelam, like what I previously explained, means out of caution yung filing nila para hindi sila ma-technical sa side ng House of Representatives, pero they are reserving their right na questionin nila later on in a higher court. Okay, and then after po nito, after pagbanggain yung complaint plus the answer ni VP Sara, yung Committee on Justice ng House of Representatives declared na sufficient in grounds yung impeachment complaint. So this one naman po yan, ito yung video na yan. Okay, so pinapakita ko lang po to sa inyong lahat para pwede kayo mag-back read kung gusto ninyo mas makita or maintindihan yung mga past happenings. Okay, then after po niya nagkaroon ng hearing yung COJ-HOR, ito po yun. So ito na po yung hindi umattend si VP Sara and yung lawyers niya. So this was on March 25, 2026, kung saan yung controversial naman dito, kung saan nag-issue po yung House of Representatives ng subpoena para sa mga iilang evidence documents na tracing all the way back to 2007 and sa mga business documents din po ng negosyo ng asawa ni VP Sara na hindi nabanggit sa ultimate facts ng impeachment complaint. Kaya ko po siya na-mention na posible siyang matawag na fishing expedition. Okay? And the next po niyan, on March 27 naman to, 2026, the first petition for certiorari in the Supreme Court was filed questioning the proceedings ng House of Representatives. Pero yung nag-file po in this video, yung mga filers po niyan ay sila Attorney Torion and Company at hindi pa po si VP Sara. And then yung next naman po is this one naman, which is yung si VP Sara na mismo via her lawyers yung nag-file ng petition for certiorari sa Supreme Court. Okay? And then at present, ito na po yung nangyayari after nung mga final na cases ni Attorney Torion and VP Sara. So again, yung hearing po today, April 14, 2026, according sa Committee on Justice, this is just a clarificatory hearing based on mga evidence and documents na sa kanila na or part of the records ng committee, because yun nga po, clarificatory hearing po yung identification nila sa hearing na to. Okay, so yan lang naman po ang pinaka-facts of this. Ngayon po, i-discuss muna natin itong sa COA kasi tingin ko po mas interesting talaga to siya kaysa dun sa issue involving Ramil Madriaga. Okay? Okay, so again, yung biggest revelation nga po ng COA dito is that yung notice of disallowance against the Office of the Vice President for the year 2022 involving the confidential fund ay na-affirm na ng COA proper. Okay, so hindi ko na po ito ipe-play itong part na to para mas streamlined and efficient po yung discussion natin. But if you want to fully hear kung ano yung actual na discussion nila, itong part po yung panoorin ninyo, yung between Congressman, I forgot his name, basta sa One Rider party list po to siya, with the COA representative na si Attorney Gloria A. Camora. Okay, so unang-una po, yun nga, nagkaroon na ng affirmation from the COA proper sa notice of disallowance. And then pangalawa, kinlarify dito ni Congressman Gutierrez, if I'm not mistaken, Congressman Gutierrez yung name, na ano yung ibig sabihin nun kung na-affirm yung notice of disallowance. Does it mean ba may criminal act na bang nagawa yung Office of the Vice President or si VP Sara? So kinlarify po dito ni Attorney Camora na hindi po ganun because ang effect lang po ng COA na decision is that hindi lang nasunod yung joint circular in relation to confidential funds. Okay, so in simple terms, in a way po, parang hindi lang nasunod yung audit practices or yung audit standards in relation to confidential funds. But it does not necessarily mean po kasi na automatic criminal liability yun siya agad. Kasi yung mga criminal acts po, we have to remember, has their own essential elements na kailangan pa ma-prove beyond reasonable doubt yung isa-isang elements na yun para magkaroon po ng criminal liability. So ang mangyayari lang po dito, yung COA decision na yun ay pwede yun siya magamit as evidence later on kung merong mga criminal cases na ifa-file against Vice President Sara Duterte. But again, hindi po automatic porket may Commission on Audit decision ay may criminal action na. It's just that yun nga po, hindi lang nasunod yung guidelines ng COA in relation to confidential fund use. Okay? Kasi kung let's say po gusto nila establish na because hindi nasunod yung COA audit ay may plunder na naganap si VP Sara, edi kailangan pa po ipakita at i-prove yung isa-isang essential elements for the crime of plunder. Diba? Hindi po kasi automatic na porket may failure in following the COA standards ay plunder agad yon. Kasi again, separate po yung criminal liability from mga ganitong administrative matters. Okay? So hopefully, klaro po yan. And then, yung isa pa po na gusto ko lang pala i-discuss pa dito is we have to remember may right to appeal pa po yan sa Supreme Court si VP Sara in relation to this decision ng COA proper. So in other words, hindi pa po talaga final na may disallowance. So yung maganda lang nating i-take note dito is paano kaya to siya matitreat ng Senate, let's say umabot talaga sa Senate Impeachment Trial Court itong case na to, kung paano ititreat ng Senate yun. Will that be sufficient to establish yung ground na gusto i-establish despite na may right to appeal pa sa Supreme Court yung respondent? Kasi we have to consider din na pag i-appeal yan ni VP Sara, sabihin natin magtuloy-tuloy nga sa Senate, di ba? Tapos sabihin ng Senate biglang this is sufficient basis para ma-convict ka, eh yung pala biglang in-overturn ng Supreme Court. So dun ngayon magkakaroon ng problema, malaking problema po talaga kung ako tatanungin kasi in that situation po, kung gamitin siya as basis to convict in an impeachment, mapapawalang bisa mo na, di ba, yung political support ng mga bumote in favor kay VP Sara. Tapos yun pala later on na overturn. Okay, so tandaan po ninyo, hindi ko sinasabing overturn talaga siya sa Supreme Court, but I'm just explaining and visualizing po sa inyo yung mga possible scenarios. Kaya nga po, kung dito sa impeachment, kung hindi tayo sure, better na like ko sinasabi na mas maging cautious, di ba? Kasi baka magkaroon talaga ng mga buhol-buhol po ng mga legal principles. Tapos in impeachment nga po, hindi kasi siya simply affecting lang the respondent, kundi yung rights din ng mga supporters niya kasi we have to remember, yung impeachable officer po in this case is an elected officer na may mandato po ng taong bayan. Okay, so yan lang po yung mga legal factors or mga legal matters na magandang i-balance as to this. So ngayon, ang next, ano yung possible arguments dito ng both House of Representatives at ni Vice President Sara Duterte, considering na ngayon lang po lumabas yung decision na to, medyo nasa may dulo na to sila, di ba, ng impeachment proceeding sa COJ HOR level. Quick break lang mga kasimor, gusto ko lang po magpasalamat because we have recently crossed 400,000 subscribers sa YouTube. So maraming salamat po sa mga nakasubscribe na. Thank you in advance sa mga magsasubscribe pa lang. At sa mga nanonood po ngayon, hopefully you can consider liking and subscribing this video. So tandaan po ninyo, pag sa YouTube kayo mag-subscribe, 100% free ang YouTube subscription. Okay, ngayon po, tuloy tayo sa discussion. So unahin ko po muna explain yung side ni VP Sara kasi quote-unquote DDS lawyer po tayo, di ba? Yun yung laging tinatawag sa atin. So anyway po, yung magiging argument niya ni VP Sara will most likely, or they can argue mainly revolving around yung right to due process. And the reason is simple lang po kasi like what I've explained already previously, yung subpoena kasi is parang ang nagiging fishing expedition kasi naging to follow, di ba, yung evidence basically. So yung sinasabi ko ang quote-unquote to follow, parang nangyari ngayon siya today because yung evidence na yon, yung decision ng COA na yon ay hindi pa po yun part ng impeachment complaint when it was initially filed dun sa the House of Representatives. So anyway po, i-explain ko step by step para mas maintindihan po talaga ninyo. So after po kasi the filing of the verified impeachment complaint, the first step nga po is the determination of sufficiency in form. So yung verification lang naman po yung tinitingnan dyan. And then next po is yung determination of sufficiency in substance, kung saan titingnan po kung meron bang sapat na facts or ultimate facts in relation to the elements of the allegations na mga wrongdoings po na ginawa ng respondent or defendant. Okay, and then of course after nyan, pagsabihin ng House na sufficient in substance yan, may sapat na facts or na kwento, ang next na po nyan ngayon ay may time na yung respondent to answer. So ang answer po nyan is 10 days from receipt of the notice. So this one nga po is yung answer ad cautelam ni VP Sara. And then yung next po nyan after mag-answer is within 3 days, this one ay pwede po yung complainant may file ng reply. So alam naman po natin hindi nag-file yung complainant, diba? Because according to them, insufficient daw yung answer or non-answer nga daw po yung ginawa ni VP Sara. And then after po nitong period na mag-file ng reply, pwede ngayon mag-file ng rejoinder naman yung respondent in response dun sa reply. Okay, so yan po yung determination ng mga sufficiencies and then time to file answer, time to file reply, and time to file rejoinder. So ang pinaka-point ko lang po talaga dito, since tapos na tong mga period to file a reply and rejoinder, paano na yun ngayon masasagot ni VP Sara yung mga bagong evidence na today lang lumabas, considering po, di ba, last month pa final yung answer niya, plus yung period niya to file a rejoinder was supposedly last month pa din yun. Yan po yung reason kaya nasasabi kong mahirap yung to follow, kasi after this po, itong mga period to file a answer, reply, and rejoinder, wala na pong rule na nagsabi na pwede pa sumagot yung respondent. Ang next na po niyan is submission of evidence and memoranda, and then ipuput into vote na ng committee kung whether or not dalhin na ba nila sa plenary yung impeachment complaint. So tandaan po natin itong memoranda, this is a summary of all the pleadings na na-file na. Diba? So hindi pwede biglang dito ka magre-respond sa memoranda kung hindi mo yan nasama dun sa answer mo initially or sa rejoinder mo. So in simple terms, since wala na pong opportunity ngayon na mag-file ng response or ng another answer si VP Sara dun sa bagong evidence, pwede niya i-argue na there is a violation of her right to due process kasi hindi yun kasama sa original complaint. Therefore, she was never notified about that evidence, which in effect did not give her the opportunity to defend herself in relation to that new evidence. Okay, so yan po yung nakikita kong pwedeng argument dito ni VP Sara. So ngayon, ang next question, ano naman yung pwedeng argument ng House of Representatives? So unang-una po dyan, ang pwede talaga sabihin ng House of Representatives is that yung impeachment process is a sui generis proceeding, di ba? Therefore, it is quasi-political, quasi-legal, and quasi-judicial proceeding. So in simple terms, kung pagbotohan ng members ng House na kahit na wala sa rules, ay pwede nila mabigyan ng opportunity to answer si VP Sara para dun sa mga bagong evidence na lumabas. So yan yung pinaka magiging foundation ng argument po talaga ng House, kasi at the end of the day, diba, they have the power to initiate impeachment complaints, they have the power to promulgate the rules ng impeachment complaints. So yung question na lang dyan, kung paano ba talaga yung proper interpretation, kung pwede din ba yung mga ganun na kahit na questionable, basta pagbotohan ng members ng House, will that be sufficient to cure the possible defects in relation to the right to due process and other rights pa of a respondent in an impeachment case sa HOR level. So yung sa House po, wala na tayong masyadong ma-explain talaga dyan kasi yun lang naman po talaga yan. The Congress will always test the limits of their powers under the Constitution kasi they are an independent body po from the judiciary. Therefore, hindi po kailangan or hindi po dapat na mag-antay lang din yung House palagi sa instruction ng Supreme Court, kasi ang mangyari po pag gano'n na mag-aantay lang sila palagi sa mga Supreme Court decisions, para naging resource person na lang ng Congress ngayon yung judiciary bago sila mag-act. Pero yun nga po, since the House of Representatives, the Congress, is a independent government body, therefore they have the power to test the limits of their power subject to judicial review. Yun lang din yung dilemma ng House. Pwede nila subukan, pero pwede pa rin sila pagsabihan ng Supreme Court later on na meron kayong grave abuse. Okay, so yan lang naman po ang nakikita ko mga possible discussion dito. More on due process talaga yan, yung maging argument si VP Sara. And then of course, yung Congress nga is talagang yung power nila to initiate impeachment complaints. So actually sa petition for certiorari po ni VP Sara sa Supreme Court ngayon, question niya na yan kung pwede ba magdagdag lang ng basta-basta ng rules of procedure yung House during the pendency of the impeachment complaints. Kasi like what I stated, diba, tapos na nga yung mga period to file a reply, a rejoinder. So theoretically, wala na supposedly ditong time to answer to that new evidence. Pero kung pumunta si VP Sara doon, she will submit herself to the jurisdiction of the House. Posible yan sabihin ng House na we will allow you as long as pagbotohan at i-approve ng majority ng members. Pero in that situation kasi parang unfair na rin, 'di ba, sa respondent. Kaya yung ginawa po ni VP Sara para hindi siya maipit ay pumunta na lang talaga siya ng Supreme Court para yung Supreme Court na yung magsabi at mag-interpret kung paano ba talaga yung rules. Kung dapat ba strictly sundin lang yung periods to file an answer, reply, rejoinder, or kung pwede nga ba yung mga to follow na evidence na yan, tapos to follow na lang din yung second answer ng respondent. Okay, so yan lang naman po ang masasabi ko as to that. Ngayon po, pag-usapan naman natin yung tungkol kay Ramil Madriaga. Okay, so ang masasabi ko lang po dito sa pag-testify ng star witness na si Ramil Madriaga, unang-una po, yung mga statements niya, or madami po sa statements niya, mahirap ma-corroborate or ma-supportahan. Katulad po nung in-explain niya kung paano niya na-meet si PRRD via kay Congressman Goles daw, for those who are not aware, si Congressman Goles has already passed away, diba? Tapos si PRRD is currently in The Hague. So, ewan ko lang kung makakuha ba tayo ng statement from PRRD to confirm or affirm yung mga allegations or statements ni Congressman Madriaga as to kung paano siya napunta dun sa Duterte group. And then, yung pangalawa po dyan is the personal motive, kung meron bang motibo yung witness para sabihin yung mga accusations or allegations niya against a certain individual. So, regarding that po, dito sa hearing din mismo, tinanong to siya ni Congresswoman De Lima kung ano ba yung reason niya for coming out itong mga ganitong statements. Although, pinigilan po ni Congresswoman Luistro kasi probing na daw. So, ang sinabi po doon ni Ramil Madriaga is due to, yung isa po niyang sinabi doon is due to the inaction daw ni VP Sara against kay Attorney Harry Roque in relation dun sa mga alleged land grabbing cases involving sa mga kakilala po ni Ramil Madriaga. So from that statement, masasabi natin na meron siyang possible personal hatred or personal anger towards VP Sara and Attorney Roque. Okay, so hindi ko naman po sinasabing because of that ay wala ng katotohanan lahat, but I'm just explaining yung mga certain legal matters kung ano ba yung tinitingnan ng court in relation sa credibility ng witness. And then yung next po na maganda rin i-consider dito, which I believe is public knowledge naman na, is yung, di ba alam po natin na pag si PRRD, lahat yan dadaan kay Bongo. Parang gano'n naman po talaga yan based on how PRRD functioned during his presidency. Kaya lahat din ng mga malalaking scandal involving the administration of PRRD, lagi ding nababanggit dun si Bongo, di ba? Like katulad yung sa Frygate and then yung sa mga Farmally case, laging nababanggit po si Bongo. So the way kasi si Ramil Madriaga pinresent niya sarili niya dito, parang ganun, kung ako lang po based on my observations, parang ganun siya na level din na pagkadikit kay PRRD na parang Bongo levels din po siya. Pero never ko po nakikita si Ramil Madriaga before. Even during my time in Congress, hindi ko po siya nakikita talaga na nasa circle nila PRRD or sa circle po ng Duterte group. Although hindi naman po ako super dikit kay PRRD back then kasi I was actually part of the minority nga po. Pero usually po kasi pag may mga functions, may mga events si PRRD, yung Duterte group, may kita mo naman yung mga common persons yan nakapaligid palagi kay PRRD. And unfortunately, ako personally, hindi ko po nakikita si Ramil Madriaga before. So yan lang po ang masasabi ko dyan. And then yung next din po na napansin ko dito sa statement ni Ramil Madriaga ay madami rin siyang statements na panahon pa ni PRRD. So we have to remember po kasi this is the impeachment case against Vice President Sara Duterte. And pag impeachment case po regarding a certain impeachable officer, dapat yung mga grounds or yung mga discussion ay mag-relate lang during the term of that impeachable officer. So yung panahon po ni PRRD, hindi pa naman po impeachable officer nun si VP Sara. So wala po yun siyang relevancy sa impeachment case against the VP. So overall po yung mga allegations talaga ni Ramil Madriaga, mabibigat po siya kung papakinggan lang talaga natin. Pero yun nga po, mukhang mahirapan siya makakuha ng mga corroborating or supporting evidence. Kasi based on what I've read about the perjury case filed nila VP Sara, nila Attorney Panelo against dito kay Ramil Madriaga, ay may mga witnesses sila na madami-dami to contradict everything. Diba? So, dun pa lang po, magbabanggaan yan, magiging he says, she says. So, bababa po or mawawala yung value ng testimony as to certain issues. Okay, so yan lang po ang masasabi ko as to the latest developments po sa 2026 impeachment case ni VP Sara. Hopefully klaro po yun. If you like more legal videos, like and subscribe lang po kayo sa channel ko. At kung nabitin po kayo, may lalabas po yung 2 videos na i-recommend ni YouTube sa inyo. And until next time, see you all po. Bye-bye!